Hello, everybody, and welcome to a lunchtime live on Talk to the Entities.
Hello. So nice to see you.
It's always lovely to see you, Kitty. It's always lovely to see you. So this is Kitty Laszlo, and myself and Kitty are, I suppose, what would you call it? We are extremely sensitive to the spirit world. Yeah.
You can say that again.
She said, you can say that again. And so I facilitate this body of work called Talk to the Entities. And there's a Talk to the Entities beginning classes coming up on June 28th, which you can come on. And it's an 8-week class. I would say, Kitty, in vital education. It's a vital education how to be with what you're aware of in the spirit world and handle that and what that can mean for you. And so we did a Talk to Entities the beginning about maybe 2 months ago. And this Friday the 13th, we have a Talk to the Entities intermediate. And we're inviting you to this class. We're educating you to know that this class exists. And so for me, Kitty, I'm just going to be really honest. We actually talked about this yesterday. And one of the things that occurred for me is as a kid, I was like super entity sensitive, like so aware. And my grandmother was too. And my grandmother would just say random things like I would say, I'd like to have a new dress. And my grandmother would say, ask your nana, ask your grandmother in heaven. And I would ask Maggie Gould, was her name. I would ask my grandmother in heaven, Maggie Gould, and the next day a bunch of dresses would show up in our house.
Wow.
And I know it's total wow. And then my mom was the complete opposite. She was like, don't be talking about any of that stuff. And so it created a massive conflict with it had created an erosion of, I'm going to say, the ability to have a relationship with entities that is ease. And so most of the people that we meet, they see something out of the corner of their eye, or they sense someone's with them in the room, or they get a funny smell, or for me, it can be exhaustion. Or I'm going to talk about the day before yesterday. I woke up and usually I have a lot of space and a lot of peace. And I woke up and there wasn't space in my world, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah. And so by now I know if there's not space in my world, there's something that I'm aware of that I'm not
Mhm.
acknowledging. And so the first question we ask in Talk to the Entities is this an entity? Is this an entity? And then you can run the entity tools. We'll give you the clearing that I use all the time. It's an identity clearing and a job clearing. Who are you? Who were you before that? Who were you before that? Who were you before that? Who can you be in the future? So you're taking an entity out of a stuck position, a stuck identity. I'm Rachel O'Brien and this is who I am. This is the sum total of me. Okay. And you can then ask for all the magnetic imprinting, right, wrong, good, bad, pot and pock, all 100 shorts, boys, provas, creations, bases, and beyonds. Okay. And then the job clearing is you may have an entity that is in the house that you live in or on the land. You live in Cluj in Romania. There is a lot of entity activity there. And so
Totally.
And so, what was your job? What was your job before that? What was your job before that? What was your job for that? And what can you be in the future? Take all your magnetic imprinting, right or wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shorts, boys, provids, creations, bases, and beyonds. That's the Access Consciousness clearing statement. Now, so these are the basic clearings that you learn. And then the spirit world has a huge characteristic, just like people. There'll be ones that are super kind. There'll be ones that are contracted, compressed. stupid people, like walking down, if I walk down the street of Cluj today, London. And
Yeah.
so the talk to the entities is an education on, first of all, to recognize that there is a whole spirit world. And then for me, Kitty, is like, how can there not be? How can there
Exactly.
not be? Like, you live in Cluj, if we even go back 200 years, the amount of war, the amount of conflict that went on in that city alone, the amount of people that were killed in war, the amount of people that lived in different timelines, and they had very different points of views. Like, where do they go? You know, what occurs after their bodies die, and what way would you like to be treated when you die?
And
And
what is strange, you can sense everything at the same time. I mean, all the timelines, all the periods, everything that is going on for everybody or was going on. So that's when these tools really come in handy.
I love what you said. And so you can sense all these energies at one time. Yesterday, I went to a big, huge antique fair. I think I told you this. And I was buying like a new mirror for my house, and well, actually, it's old. I really love old
Mhm.
furniture. And so there was a lady stuck to the mirror, and there's a lot of entity activity. And so
Mhm.
we came and so we came out, and Troy was like really tired, Troy. And so one of the things that we did was we started running. All the entities were looking to communicate. They
Mhm.
actually could sense that, like Kitty said, that you can be aware of all these timelines. I tried on a ring, and immediately I sensed the lady's energy who had the ring, you
Mhm.
know? And so, but nobody has ever educated us, number one, that we are aware of all these timelines. Number two, we do sense energies, and number three, of course, there's a spirit world. Of course, there is a spirit world. For me, that's like how can there not be a spirit world? Where do these people go to after they die? Like, what occurs with their beings? It's like, of course, there is a spirit world, and it's so beautiful to have tools to actually allow you to not be affected by what you're aware of. And that was the part that I wanted to ask you today. What changed for you since utilizing the Talk to the Entities tools? And what occurs for you now when you sense your space being compressed, or I'm going to say like distorted? Yeah.
Yeah, I usually sense either my space being compressed or body pain or some kind of physical sensation. And then I know maybe it's not the first thing I go to ask, is this an entity? I go to my head maybe and look at different stuff and ask questions, but then it hits me, okay, is this an entity? And very often it is, and then I clear them. Sometimes they want something, I mean, they want to communicate. Mostly they want to be acknowledged. Most of them are super afraid or super even. My late aunt arrived one of these days, and she was still in shock from so much medication that she received. She died of cancer. And I again ran the clearing about, the
PTSD.
yeah, PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome. And then she started to realize that she doesn't have a body anymore, but she's still a bit blurry. So it's really important to use these tools when you have these sensations and not to totally buy into the story and go to the doctors and God knows what else,
Yeah.
you name it, and just get stuck in that reality of pain and suffering.
I'm grateful that you brought up to go to the doctors. So what I'm not saying, my best friend Troy, he had a kidney infection and he required antibiotic. I'm like, we're
Yeah,
for antibiotics when the body requires it. We just want to say this.
sure.
What Kitty is talking about is years ago. entities would communicate with me, and I had this weird point of view that I would see an entity where I would see Kitty. Okay. And I don't see entities at all like that. I hear their voices, or I would sense their body pain, because there's no separation in the way that we receive information. And so I would hear a lot of voices in my head. And so I actually thought that I was crazy. I actually fully thought that there was something radically wrong with me, which isn't a question. And I actually went to a psychiatry ward, and I was told by a doctor that there was something radically wrong with me and I would never be right. But I met a nurse and she said, "We have nothing in here for you." And so I'm not sure if Kitty's gone for you guys, but she'll come back. And so one of the things that we find with toxic entities is a lot of people, their awareness of the spirit world has been so eroded and dismissed that the trust in themselves to know what they're aware of, it can't ever be destroyed, but I'm going to say it's lost. Okay. And then, like me, I came into a toxic entities class in 2012, and Shannon started, her first question is, are you aware of beings that no longer have bodies? Which we both respond to, yes. Okay, yes. If it's true, it's light for you. If it's a lie, it's heavy. And so then I got my fundamental education in how to deal with the energies that I'm aware of. I did not ever have the information, Kitty, that I had a space and an ability and a craft to gift these entities a different energy. So for me, before toxic entities, I was the effect of the voices in my head. Whoa! I would sense an entity that had died in a building and I would get like a pain in my belly. And so I was massively, the symptoms that my body was having, the source for that was I was not acknowledging that I was aware of this vast world, just like the ocean. At the moment they're talking about the ocean is an oasis. Like it's like there's trees on the bed of the ocean, and they actually absorb carbon and they gift out oxygen. So there's this whole world under the ocean that nobody up until recently knew existed. And it's the same with toxic entities. The difference with toxic entities, though, is people do know. They do know there's a spirit world. They do have.
They just act like they don't.
Exactly. They do have someone dies and their picture falls off, or they do have they're out somewhere after someone dies and their favorite song comes on the radio, or like just the strangest occurrences, and they know that there is actually a message and a communication in them. And so one of the things that I would love to invite you to take a look at, are you spirit aware? And instead of making it something that is a problem, which we both had, Kitty said pain in her body, because nobody educates us to deal and handle what we're aware of. Okay. And so get yourself to a toxic entities class and get the fundamental education on how to deal with what you're aware of and using this craft to your advantage, And then if you've done the beginning, usually I find in the beginning, people they're a massive doubt, like they're using doubt in regard to what they're aware of. And then in toxic entities, the beginning, we did one recently. Like we watched a 15-year-old kid in class come alive when she was acknowledged for what she was aware of, And so I see people's lives changing from like compression and what's wrong with me? Am I crazy? To being like, actually, no, I'm not crazy. There's a vast spirit world out there. I am aware of it. Now, I have a capacity, I have a craft to be able to gift to the spirit world, because most people that I deal with, most entities I deal with, not people in bodies, they genuinely don't they don't have the awareness of the way they chose to die. So a lot of them are super confused, you know? And then talk to the entities, the intermediate is really strengthening your ability to know what you're aware of. And instead of trying to get the entities away, who are you? Who are you? Which is the way I did it after my first to talk to the entities at the beginning.
Yeah, me too.
Who get out of my space, get out of my space. For me, talk to the entities, the intermediate, is the ability to allow entities into your space from choice. I have a choice, and gift to them, and not being the effect of their headache that they had when they, when they were alive, or whatever was going on for them when they had a body, or their thinking, their own points of views. And so one of the things that has drastically changed for me is knowing that there's a vast kingdom, being educated on the vast kingdom that we're dealing with, because we have benevolent beings, we have conscious beings, we have the beings of light, we have the spirits of the earth, which are all the spirits that live on the trees and bodies of water. So allow myself to be with all, and to actually, I've got to say, my life and my daily living has improved wondrously since I acknowledged that there is a spirit world. I'm aware of a spirit world, and I can actually contribute to it, and I can receive the gifts that are being gifted to me.
Is there also a different manual for the intermediate class, or is it a bit different? I suppose it's different than the beginning, of course.
Of
Oh, you have
course.
the manual also.
I mean, I said to you yesterday or the day before I woke up, and there was a lot of entities pushed up against
Right.
me, and immediately, still, like, I'm a top entities facilitator maybe 5 years now, and I forgot that I'm entity sensitive, and I woke up and I was like, am I cranky? And then I opened my manual. There's a beautiful exercise in here, and the first thing was like, start by pushing down your barriers. Ask the question, is this an entity? And then relax more. Perceive what I'm aware of. And then I recognized that there was a lot of entities pushed up against me. And sure enough, two people that I knew, one, her cousin had died, and one, her mom had died. And I started asking questions, and they were like, can you talk to my daughter? Can you talk to my cousin? And so I'm going to say, Kitty, I'm one of the ones that really, I've got to work the tools. I not got to, I get to. It's a choice. It's a choice I get to have. And like, the most magical things will occur. One of the ladies that I talked to, her mom had died, and she said to me, thank you so much for giving me a call, and talking to me about that I don't have to be sad about my mother's death. Her mother was really quite sick, and offering people like a different choice in regard to death, offering people a different way of living. It's such a beautiful body of work where we get to honor people's life, where we get to honor them when they no longer have a body, and get to honor their being. And I would say, for me, it's a vital education so that I actually can commit to what I'm aware of in the spirit world. And as I said, like, my great grandmother sending me the dress the day after, I'll ask for, there's a whole world of beings working with me. I'll ask for something, and immediately it showed up. Like, can I tell you the story about this painting?
Sure. Please.
So I saw this painting, and I have this ability where I can connect to people and connect to spirits very, very fast. You know me well, what I'm like. And so written on the painting was William Foster. And the Friday night that I wanted to collect the painting, I couldn't collect it. I was really tired, and it was an hour's drive. And I messaged the guy selling the painting. I'm like, hey, I'm so sorry, I can't come tonight. He said, it's okay. There's a second couple really interested, and a third couple really interested. And I sat down and I was like, hello, William Foster. How are you? Your painting is beautiful. Thank you so much. If you'd like your painting to come hang in my house, like, I'm here. So you know where I'm leading to with this. Well, I have the painting. And so I messaged him like a day later and I said, hey, just checking in, like, did the people come and collect the painting? He was like, it's so weird.
No.
Nobody nobody collected the painting. Well, William Foster wanted his painting to be hung here, in my house. And I have this with so many things. People will like gift me rings. It's just so much fun. I am so joyful to say that being spirit aware improves my living in ways that I can't even begin to imagine. It's no longer a curse. It was, Kitty,
Yeah, I agree. Yes,
Yeah, it's no longer a
it
curse.
used to be.
It used to be for Kitty as well. And
Yeah,
it's something that I've got to practice. I get to practice, I get to know. So if you're looking to strengthen your ability to be with what you're aware of in the spirit world, come join us. And if you're looking to strengthen your ability to have a choice, which is for me, not compressing, not contracting, not freaking out, not buying the thought that I'm hearing is me. It's all a point of view. Is this an entity's thought? I will hear the entity's thought as if it's mine. Then I have to go to question, what is this? Is this an entity? Is this something else? Is it someone else? Then I'll run the clearings, and it has radically improved my living, the education of the beginning, the intermediate, and of course the advanced. And so if you get a sense that this is something that you require education on, and I am really saying the word education because nobody had educated me to deal with what I was aware in the spirit world. Of course, lots of people talk about entities, not just talk to entities and access consciousness. Lots of people talk about entities, with the education in this to support me to facilitate what I'm aware of and to contribute consciousness and kindness to the beings that are looking to be facilitated, and also to receive kindness from the beings that are looking to contribute to us.
that's so beautiful. Exactly.
Yeah,
There's
it
a
really,
constant gifting and receiving when
yeah.
you let your barriers down and you choose to function from that space.
Yeah. And sometimes, as I said yesterday morning, my barriers went up. A barrier,
Mm-hmm.
in case you're watching this, and this is from Toxic Entities, the beginning, a barrier is a separation, and you use a wall or a barrier because you've decided what you're aware of you can't handle. Okay. And so for me, I I'm handling everything that I'm aware of, and then I don't have to fix the spirit's problem if they've got different choices to make. But we go all into this in a much bigger way. We can gift the energy of consciousness, the energy of kindness, the energy of inclusion, receiving all beings, judging none, and then also, of course, a being, they have their choices to make too. It's beautiful,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it is.
Yes. So we start Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And if you want to jump on, we'll put the link here. And if you're entity aware, please know there is nothing wrong with you. As Kitty said beautifully, you actually put it in a beautiful way. She has the ability to be aware of all timelines and sensitive to all timelines, other than the one that's going on right now in this present moment. Okay. And there are a lot of people like that. They will walk into a building and they'll be aware of what it was like to be in that building 100 years ago. They'll be aware of the entities there. And so, trust you, the spirit world is real, it is a reality. You are aware. And then, what kindness and what caring can you be for you to educate yourself on developing this beautiful craft that you have?
Each day we have about how many hours of class? 2 hours or so?
Yeah, about 90 minutes, 90 minutes to, yeah, in
Uh-huh.
total.
Okay.
In total, the classes, a 1 day class is 6 hours. And so we get through so much in these classes, and people come out of these classes with way more peace, and they have a sense that living is greater. They have more vitality and energy and more living available to them, and more receiving, which is what clearing, communicating, cooperating, and receiving, that is the essence of talk to the entities.
Can't wait.
Yeah,
What
me
can I
too.
say?
Me too. We hope this live contributed to you. We're on quite a bit. We hope this live contributed to you. Have a day of ease, joy, and glory, and all of the spirit world comes to us with ease, joy, and glory. And check out accessconsciousness.com and talktotheentities.com if you want to pick up some free videos, free calls, education. There's lots on there. And then get yourself to a class. You'll know if you require it. Cool. Thank you so much, Kitty.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone, and bye to all the spirits.
Bye.